Apple might finally be doing the exact thing iPhone fans have been begging for, just not all at once. If you have looked at your iPhone recently and wish that black pill at the top of the screen would just disappear, you need to hear this. The iPhone 18 Pro lineup is shaping up to get a noticeably cleaner front design, and thanks to some fresh leaks, we now have a pretty solid idea of just how much smaller that dynamic island is actually going to be. This isn't just a rumor about a new color or a slightly faster chip. This is about the screen real estate that you look at every single day. A massive new leak suggests Apple is shrinking the cutout in a way you will absolutely notice the moment you unlock the phone. According to the well-known and often reliable leaker Ice Universe, the dynamic island on the iPhone 18 Pro and iPhone 18 Pro Max could shrink from roughly 20.7 millimeters wide to about 13.5 millimeters. Now, hearing numbers might not sound exciting at first, but let's put that into perspective. That is not a tiny, invisible tweak. That is around a 35% reduction in width. Imagine taking over a third of that black bar at the top of your phone and just deleting it. In real-world terms, this translates immediately to more screen space. It means less of a black pill staring back at you when you're watching YouTube videos, playing games, or just scrolling through social media. It is a significant step toward the dream of a truly all-screen iPhone. But the real question everyone is asking is, how? How can Apple suddenly shrink this sensor array after years of keeping it the same size? The reason Apple can even attempt this comes down to the complexity of Face ID. For a while now, rumors and patents have been pointing toward Apple hiding Face ID components under the display. And that does seem to be happening, just not completely yet. Earlier reports got us all excited by suggesting we would get a single punch-hole camera, similar to what we see on flagship Android phones like the Samsung Galaxy S series. However, the latest information paints a much more cautious and realistic picture of Apple's roadmap. Instead of moving the entire camera and sensor system under the screen in one go, Apple is reportedly starting with just one part of the system, the flood illuminator. By moving just the flood illuminator under the display, Apple frees up enough physical space to slim down the dynamic island significantly, but not enough to kill it off entirely. So, rather than disappearing, the pill shape sticks around for the iPhone 18 Pro, just much smaller and far less intrusive. This is a classic engineering compromise. They want to give you more screen, but they refuse to compromise the security and speed of Face ID, which requires multiple sensors to work perfectly. What makes this timeline even more interesting is the long-term prediction from display analyst Ross Young. He says this smaller dynamic island design isn't just a one-year experiment for the iPhone 18. According to him, Apple could stick with this specific setup all the way through 2027. Translation: a fully seamless, uninterrupted iPhone display with zero cutouts is still quite a few generations away. As for the credibility of this news, we have to look at the source. Ice Universe has a decent history when it comes to predicting Apple dimensions and display specs. They aren't perfect, but they are accurate often enough that this leak is definitely worth paying attention to. When you combine this with Ross Young's display chain analysis, the picture becomes very clear. This feels like classic Apple behavior. They prefer slow, deliberate changes, upgrading one component at a time, rather than risking a total redesign that might fail. It's no big dramatic overhaul, but a meaningful step toward that clean, uninterrupted screen we all want. Here is my honest take on this development. While some might be disappointed that the dynamic island isn't vanishing completely, this 35% reduction is actually a huge deal for usability. The current dynamic island cuts into content more than we like to admit, especially in landscape mode. Shrinking it down to 13.5 millimeters makes it feel much more like a notification bubble and less like a hardware obstruction. It strikes the right balance between maintaining the iconic brand identity of the iPhone. Because let's be honest, that cutout is how people know you have an iPhone and actually improving the viewing experience. It proves that Apple is working on under-display tech, but they are refusing to release it until it meets their quality standards. I would rather have a smaller, perfectly functioning dynamic island than a buggy under-display camera that takes blurry selfies. So, this leaves us with a big question for you. Does a smaller dynamic island actually excite you? Or are you holding out for the day it disappears completely? Is a 35% reduction enough to make you upgrade? Or does it feel like too small of a step? Let me know exactly what you think in the comments below. And if you enjoyed this breakdown and want to stay ahead of all the latest Apple leaks and tech news, you already know what to do. Subscribe to the channel, share this video with your tech-loving friends, and hit that bell icon so you never miss an update. I'll catch you in the next one.